week on Painted Plastic.
No.
Hey everybody, welcome back to Painted Plastic, and episode 2 of the X-Wing build. I know the card said wiring and priming. I hope we can get the priming in, but there's a whole lot to cover for this wiring. My plan changed not changed, but I'm having to do things differently than I normally do, so there's going to be a lot to go over as far as lighting. Usually if you've watched some of my other things, I either use like a traditional LED bulb or one of these small like surface mount LEDs, right? And I've got a few sizes of these. This is second to smallest I think I have. So I wired up some of these to see what I could do with the kit. Well, as you can see, I mean, this is the cockpit area, right? And where am I going to put, right? That's just, I mean, it's half the size of the seat. So this was out pretty much right from the beginning. Same with the wings. I want lights up here, and yeah, where's that going to, you're not going to get that in there. So I wired up one of the surface mount LEDs, which was a bit more promising, but again, you can see it's half the size of one of the panels that it's supposed to light. Here's the instrument panel. It's like the whole size of the instrument panel, right? So that's not going to work. Same with the wings. It would fit in the wing, but it was awfully tight and just kind of awkward to feed it through. So anyway, so what I did instead, right, is went to the the website with the South American River, and ordered some fiber optic cable, right? Or not cable, but line or whatever it is. Got a few different sizes. They had little kits. This is the 1 millimeter. I don't know if you can even see that, but 1 millimeter, and then it steps down to 1/4 millimeter, which is tiny. And I made some, let's see, I'll just grab one over here so I made up some of these, right? Just a few lines put together. Here, let me, excuse me, hang on just a second. I've got hang on. I've got a little tester battery that I've been using, right? And let's see. Right? I don't know if it'll come out on camera very well, but so now I've got 3 little blue lights, right? Just a regular bulb in here, and these I can run right through the fuselage, put them right where they need to be. But I thought that was kind of neat. I'd never really messed with. Oh, I'm losing connection. Never really messed with the fiber optic much, but I can see using this on other things. That's pretty cool, I think. Anyway. I made little schematics. Now, these are rough. They're not to scale at all, right? But just little rough patterns of, what I wanted to. So, like, that pattern is for, the instrument panel, right? Just super rough. And then just took Sharpies and kind of dotted where I wanted, what color light, wrote down how many there were. And then when I bundled them all up, like, I only needed a total of 3 blue lights on the whole kit, so I just wired 3 together, right? Same with all the rest of them, right? And then there's different sizes, because I for the landing lights, I wanted those to be a little larger, and then I think it was, it's in my hand. For these, I wanted those white lights to be just a little bigger, look like a bigger cluster of lights or a panel or whatever. So yeah, made these all up. out of, let's see, I had it here so I'd be ready. A bundle of fiber optic cable. This is 10 lights because I needed 10 of this color, and then just a traditional LED, right? And all we do is just basically heat shrink them together, just like that. Actually, I saved this part so that I could, show you how these little bits were made. Let me grab. Oh, did I not grab it? I'm never ready. Every time, I'm never ready. Just 1 second. Talk amongst yourselves. Alright, sorry about that. I had to get my box of heat shrink. Yeah, so this is a 3.5mm bulb, and what I'll generally do is take a 5mm heat shrink, because you got the rim, right? And that's a little bit bigger. So take a 5mm and push it down about halfway. It doesn't have to be exact, but and then I just use my soldering iron. You can melt this with anything hot, a hair dryer even, but I just use my soldering iron because it's right beside me. And melt it down so that it's tight around that bulb. Take the end of the fiber optics, put them in until they touch the bulb, and shrink the rest up around it, and this will hold it amazingly well. So that's how I made the strands, and then we'll just give it a quick test here. Make sure it's working properly. And there you have it. Bunch of. Let me turn my light off and see if it helps at all. Oh wow! Instant dark. Whoops! Lost connection. Hang on. I should have my alligator clips, but I don't plan for anything when I'm doing videos, so. There we go. Alright. Yeah, as you can see, that's pretty bright. Now the camera, I'm just noticing, the camera's showing a lot of side leak. Like the whole thing is lit up blue. And that is not as dramatic in person. There is, you can see that there's a little glow, but it's really slight. The camera seems to be emphasizing that. But you can see the tips are it's like a little bulb on the end, right? That's pretty cool. All right, so hang on, let me turn everything back on. All right, so that's how those were made, and now I have all of the lines for everywhere I want. Oh yeah, I was gonna put some in the little R2. I don't know if I showed you guys the little R. Look at the little R2. Oh, he's so cute. Look at the little R2. Yeah. He's going to be fun to try to wire up. But anyway, there will be some modifications to this, obviously, to make all these things have a path. And I think that's what we'll get into next. Let me just tidy up some of the... I got all these things laying around. Let me get all this stuff tidied up, and we'll get into the modifications to the body itself. All right? Be right back. Alright everybody, got the pieces here that need to be modified. I'm hoping that the kind of cockpit area, actual seat, and I hope this doesn't have to be modified. It doesn't look like it needs to. We'll see. The R2 might need a little playing with. But these two definitely need to be. For the wing lights, I'm just gonna have them come down and come right out of the bottom. I had to mark the top so that I would know. But I've got my pin vise. I don't know if I mentioned it. And this is a fairly large bit, really, for doing the pin vise. But you know, I'm gonna have quite a few lines come through here, so don't want them getting bound up. There we go. So that'll be our exit point, so to speak. Right, it'll come down. Oh, you know what? I need to drill that out too. Or you know what? Cutters. I'm just gonna nip off a little section of this center, just so they can come down and not get in the way of anything. There we go, just like that. Right. I've also taken out the engine. You may have noticed. Gracious. All this is going to be hidden. You know, when they're closed, you can't see any of that stuff. So I took all that out just so I wouldn't have to modify any of it. The line can just come down, do what it needs to do. No problem, right? So this on the opposite side, it's just got to come down and then it'll go through the bottom. You know, the bottom is on this side, right? So no real modification here aside from just figuring out where I want the bulb or the light, as you know, and drilling that hole through. But after that, you know, pretty straightforward. So then we need a hole on this side, you know, roughly the same place, right? Both of they'll come together basically at this point, and then they'll travel as one line. But all right, so now excuse me. So now we got the two holes. When we put these together, you'll see that there are two holes at the bottom. So those two will come out inside the fuselage. The tops will just feed down, right? Just like you know, just without having to go through anything, because they're going to come through this. So for let's see which one is which. That's not it. Maybe that is it. Maybe that is it. Hang on. This might be it. Yep. Oh, no, wait a minute. That's it goes like this. Yeah. All right. So these two pieces, they fit into the bottom of the hull, I guess you'd call it. I don't know. So on the front, we need to notch out a little bit of one side or the other. Doesn't really matter. You can go right in the middle for those to come through, because this piece does have to go in. It fits into two grooves right here. So I think the best bet would be to just nip off a section of the middle. And I doubt I'm going to be able to break that. Hang on. This might be trickier than I expected. There we go. So now, when this is in place, right, got a nice little channel. I don't know if you can even see that, but down in there, it's a nice little channel, which takes us to the fuselage. And I'll need to take out this little bit right here. Right, that gets us a clear path, and I don't think these would get in the way, but I'm gonna clip out one side just to be sure. I think those will probably be all right, but better safe than sorry. Same thing here. I'm just gonna cut out that whole center section. Make sure we have plenty of room. Right. Oh, didn't get it all. There we go. let's see, we're going to have to take out, we might have to take out that entire side. I don't know if that'll be enough room. I'm going to go ahead and take out both sides in case we have to split the lines. Because when it gets up to this point, there's going to be quite a few fiber optic lines. Because by the time I get here, it'll have all the dashboard coming through. So, or dashboard, instrument panel. So we might have to tweak this, like maybe take a side off. We'll have to see when it comes time to assemble everything. Might be some more modification here. And then the only other thing was I want to come out in here. So I'm just going to drill out, I think I'm going to drill out a pretty good size hole. So, you know, I can have room to change my mind if I need to. The only other modification was R2. Yeah, I'm not sure what I'm gonna do with him yet, to be honest. He's so tiny. I'll try to zoom in here so you can see what I'm talking about. But I want to do two little lights. You know, he's got the little blue panel on one side and a little red dot right under there. But there's not much to work with. As you can see inside, there is not a lot of space, and then the peg, unless I just cut that off and drill through, that's kind of the only way I see to do it right now. I'm going to keep thinking about this though. So we will, is that even in focus? Did I just go through that whole thing out of focus? I'm determined to light this little guy somehow. Not sure how yet. I've got all the other bits ready to go. They're all on sticks and ready for some primer. Oops, as I shoot one across the room. So let me get all this stuff cleaned up, get these pieces that we've modified ready for paint, and we will head over to the paint booth, get some priming done. All right, be right back. Hey everybody, I know I said up next would be priming and all, but I kind of feel like this episode's getting a little long, so I think we're just going to do the wiring for right now. We've got all the holes drilled, everything's kind of ready to go. I did do off camera, I don't even know if I can, I did put the holes in the instrument panel. That's where the little fiber optics are going to come out. Yeah, and everything's pretty much ready for some primer and some paint. So like I said, I'm going to end this episode here. The next episode we'll get into priming, pre-shading possibly on some parts, and maybe even some base coat. So yeah, I think we're just going to save all that for the next episode. So as always, thanks for hanging out with me. Hope you had a good time. We will see you in episode 3. Bye-bye.